Hello and welcome to Trinity Tuesday. My name is Cherie Hudson, and I have been involved in delivering, and facilitating personal growth, self and leadership development, seminars and programs in a variety of different organizations, from financial to banking, retail, and so on. And I've done this work throughout the United States and also internationally too as well. I had a great opportunity to travel the South Pacific and deliver some amazing work to incredible people throughout the South Pacific. So over the years, the research that I've created and collected, there are three very powerful qualities that people are really looking for. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. One thing that I do want to say is leadership is starting to lead oneself. As you lead yourself through life, personally and professionally, who you are makes an impression. And that's what people feel. That's what they resonate with or they get dispelled by. So as we take a look at these topics and these behaviors, I want to just mention that in 2019, I've actually rolled out a series of different topics that can help you with leadership development. In 2020, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty and really take a look at spiritual leadership at a whole different level. And I really feel it is a time spiritual leadership is resonating and coming forward throughout organizations. So let me go ahead and at this time share with you my PowerPoint presentation that I've created and to talk about a few different things. So I have a master's in leadership, and it is from the University of Southern California. And so pouring the foundation. And in 2019, in the videos, I did cover these three particular topics, and these are really the building blocks. And the first one was inspiration. And when we took a look at inspiration, we really got into depth in regards to the behaviors that underpinned the inspiration quality. So the second quality that we took a look at, and again, these three are the ones that kept bubbling up over the years of rolling out leadership development, and it's integrity. And with integrity, it's a level of congruency that people can feel. And the third one that we got into was influence, how we impact our surroundings. What does that look like? And so all three of these, and you've heard of these before, this is not anything new, which I totally agree. However, the behaviors are a bit different, and the spiritual leadership that is truly the umbrella of these qualities are absolutely profound. And so in spiritual leadership, there's actually a trio of leadership qualities. And so when we take a look at our thoughts, that definitely aligns with a level of inspiration. And what I mean by that is we all have stories. We all tell ourselves things in our minds, and we hear that voice, and how we overcome those thoughts that do not serve us is absolutely powerful for people. You know, we hear that we never know what people are going through, and their stories could be so much more in struggle than ours. Also, the second thing that we took a look at is words. And in this session, we're taking a look in this series at these three areas. So words really align with integrity. What we say is so important. It comes from our thoughts. It's almost like what we think, say, and do, they just keep moving forward. And sometimes we create patterns in our life that do not serve us. And how do we move away from that? And how do we bring in these words, this type of integrity, that what we're thinking and saying are so aligned, people can feel it, people can get it, and they want to be a part of it. So the third is actions. And actions is about influencing. What are behaviors? How are we acting? And in that, that is definitely aligned to the quality and the characteristic of influence. So last time we got into our thoughts, and I talked about this before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again because I think it's absolutely profound. When we think about what is a thought? And so where does it come from? How does it get into our psyche, into our existence? So our nerve cells, they're generating an electrical field in mind, body, and spirit. So our thoughts come from things that have happened to us in our childhood, in our adolescence, in our adulthood. There are events, it's things that we tell ourselves and what we're projecting in our thoughts. And I would say on the most part for, people, some people, not all people, but their thoughts can actually turn against them. And so we make decisions about certain situations that we might not, that is absolutely not true. I'll give you an example of that. So I was born cross-eyed, and at the age of 1, I was in the hospital. And at that time, parents could not stay with their children, right? At a certain time, visiting hours are over, everybody had to get out. Well, I made a decision that I was abandoned, that my parents didn't love me, that I was ugly, or whatever I created at that time. That's a 1-year-old child making a decision when it was absolutely not true. The truth of the matter is, there was visiting hours and didn't realize this, but my mother would go downstairs into the car, cry her eyes out for leaving me, and as a matter of fact, would sleep in the car just to be close to me. So all I can say is that we do make certain decisions about events that occurred in our life, and they are not true on the most part. However, we don't know that, but we get this thought into ourselves, and the nerve endings, the nerve cells, they're generating this electrical force, and that's what we're thinking. I'm not lovable, I'm ugly, I'm whatever it is. And it's so not true. And when we took a look at why this is so important to learn, why do we dissect these thoughts? And it's about the energy that it's producing. And really the truth is that this is quantum mechanics. This is absolute science, that this energy gets imprinted into not only our psyche, but also the way we act, our filters, our perceptions, what we think the world is about, what we make sense of the world. So thoughts are so incredible, and it is so important for us to really become familiar with it, understand it, play with it, and move forward. So in attempting to change your thoughts, you can take a look at, seek the change. What is your intention? What do you want to move forward? Maybe even create affirmations. One of the things that I do is, stand in front of the mirror and I'm beautiful, I'm lovable, I'm great. And, and what's wrong with having those kinds of thoughts and saying these things to ourselves so that our thoughts can quiet down? There's actually a really powerful line that comes from Dr. Strange, if you're into Marvel, and I love what it says. We never get rid of our demons, we just learn how to live above them. And sometimes these thoughts can really turn against us. And so how do we live above these thoughts so that we can really see the world for what it truly is, and then really take our leadership to a whole different level? So how does this relate to work too as well? We take who we are into every existence of our life. While we may put on a different picture or a different face or a different look, because some people say, well, I'm not the same at home as I am at work, there's still an underlying pattern of who we are that we can't get away from. I remember working at a personal growth and self-development company, and I love when the facilitator said, who you are speaks louder than words. And that's what is so important in spiritual leadership. So the last time we took a look at nonviolence, how do we simmer our thoughts down and not turn our thoughts against us? Because sometimes our thoughts can be abusive, our thoughts can be punishing. And what's amazing is that we all have the same thoughts at one point in our life. And while we've learned how to overcome it for some of us, there's some that are still affected or still having these negative thoughts. And how do we move away from them? And also in a professional setting, if we have a thought about a person that is not of their highest and greatest good, we're going to treat them as such. It goes along with the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecy. So purity, That's what we're going to talk about today. But when we take a look at purity, people think, oh, I need to walk on water, or I need to be some sainthood, or some angelic light is going to come down. And the answer is, well, sure, maybe that might happen, yet the purity is about a daily practice. It is about a moment by moment, a conscious, really comfortable in your own skin effect. And so purity, we're going to really dissect this today and really take a look at what does it mean. And we're actually going to define it a little bit in regards to spiritual leadership. The third thing we're going to take a look at in regards to the title or the topic of thoughts is self-study. Now, it's not about a textbook. It's not getting into, algebra or math or history or anything like that. Well, there are great self-help books. There are great personal growth and leadership books that are out there. And absolutely, I encourage anyone and recommend, if you ever want to have any recommendations, please reach out to me. Would love to get you that information. I'm talking about really taking a look at yourself. It is self-study. It is looking at your qualities, your talents, who you are, and studying them, and how can you bring them forward, understanding what your weaknesses are, or your areas of opportunity, whatever you want to say, or the areas that you want to enhance, and really taking a look at how do we break through that to get to the other side. And the only way that's possible is to study yourself. And that's going to be pretty exciting. So the fourth thing, or the fourth item that we're going to take a look at that falls under our thoughts and inspiration, is surrender. And I know when I say it, I can feel that some people cringe and go, oh my gosh, that's about giving up. That's throwing in the white towel. And I'm going to say, no, it's not. It is not about throwing in the white towel. It is never about giving up. We have used it in that context in regards to battles and wars. This is about giving in to a situation, to stop fighting the situation and allow it to unfold. And there might be hidden treasures and blessings within that surrendering to that particular event. But it's not about giving up. It's not about losing yourself. And it's never about losing, period. So we're going to really get into that in one of our sessions. So let's move forward here and really get into purity. So taking a look at the definition that we're going to talk about, purity is about clearing out the heaviness of life, of the clutter, whether it's in your home, in your mind, and I would say especially in your mind. When we take a look at mind, body, and spirit, all of that really cycling, how do we make it pure? And what about distractions? In purity, we move away from distractions and move away from being scattered. So this is kind of like a definition of what purity is not. It is not heaviness. It is not clutter. It is not distractions. It is not scatteredness. And so what really is purity? Well, it's the opposite of that. It's being of a lightheartedness, lightness. It is about having things in its place and that our thoughts are not being cluttered. Our physical environment is not being cluttered. It is not getting sucked into distractions. While I love the Food Network, watching it for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, it might be a distraction for me. And when I'm not scattered and I'm very focused, that's a level of purity that is so possible of what can manifest. So as we take a look at the definition of purity, let us look at being in relation with life. And let's talk about a level of purity when things go haywire, that we're not fighting and attempting to control a situation. In purity, sometimes it is falling back and saying, let's see what happens here. And let us, like a situation at work, maybe there are two individuals or a project with the two individuals that is not going the way that they think it should go. And so they create an illusion, an expectation of, well, no, it needs to be this way. So you get into the whole idea of my way, it's got to be done this way. It's got to have this expectation or illusion that nothing else will work and we've got to keep on going. While that might be the situation, what can be done in a level of purity to say, you know what, it's not on track. And let's look at all the different ways that we can open this up. It doesn't need to be my way. I don't need to control this. I don't need to set this expectation that it has to be so, because what has happened is when we get into those modes of attempting to control a situation, that it has to be done a particular way, we become a freight train and we start to run people over. Now, I'm never saying that, you know, we shouldn't have goals or desires or wishes. I'm saying, yes, have that. But when you're coming up against the wall, rather than making the wall wrong, look at the wall and ask yourself, can I climb this wall? Is there a walkway around this wall? What can be done here? Do I need to order an airplane or a helicopter? Put me in there, get me over the wall. You know, that's what I'm saying. And that's the level of purity when we are in relation to life and looking at things from all the different possibilities and not setting the expectation that it has, I love this karate chop, right? It has to be done this way or else. You know, it goes back to the old adage, not that I really like this saying, however, it does really make a point. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Not that I would ever skin a cat, but so when we take a look at being in relation with life in regards to purity, it is about, yes, being focused. It's about being lighthearted, not cluttered. Remove the distractions, and it doesn't have to be my way. It can be so many different ways. I remember when I was living in the Midwest and I was a single parent, and I had a great support of many, many women that were around me. What was interesting is that sometimes my children, my child actually went to these women for advice. I never said that, oh no, you only need to listen to me. I'm your mother. It is only me and no one else can correct you or anything like that. It was about allowing my child to be in relation in life, and there could be something that another woman says that could really, really help her and really move her into her greatness, which they did. And she's an amazing woman and my best friend. So being in relation in life is really important. Also, the cleansing process. You know, we take a shower every day, right? We go into our bath, we take a shower, we wash our face, you know, and then we use our towels. And, you know, we never think about purity as a cleansing process. And it really is. And so how do we create that on a daily basis? And I'm going to add a level of forgiveness. As a matter of fact, I just released my book, Freedom Through Forgiveness, which is on the Kindle store. I'm really excited about that. And so purity is about taking a look at your daily life and cleaning it up at the end of the day. I think even Wallace Wattles talks about that, which he's a great author, great information on self-help, personal growth. And so purity is finding a way at the end of the day to clean it up. Or it might be in the moment. Let's say if two people are having an argument at work or there's a disagreement, and it's not about what they did. Oh, well, they were this way and they were that way or whatever it is. It's about what could I have done differently in this situation? How could I have made this situation better? Now, remember, we can't control anybody else. And if there's anybody out there that can control somebody else, I really want to know, because that that is magic dust. That's magic fairy dust that can be, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars that you can collect. All I know is that we can only control ourselves. We only have the ability to look at ourselves. This is where the self-study is going to come in, and I'll talk about that. But really taking a look at, what could I have done here? What worked? What didn't work? And what do I need to unlearn? Maybe there's a filter or a perception that I have about this person that it would be best for me to release. Maybe it's something that I'm doing that's setting this person off. And is there a way to calibrate it differently? Maybe it's something I'm saying. Maybe it's the way that I come in the morning. You know, and when we are open to that, that is absolutely profound. And this is what our world needs, is spiritual leadership at this level. And so the thing that we're going to take a look at next week, and I'm really excited about that. So as we wrap this up, so we got into taking a look and defining about relationship. We took the relation in life, being in relation in life. And then we also took a look at, you know, the way that we need to come across in regards to cleansing and forgiveness. And I think forgiveness is absolutely profound when we are able to forgive. And I'm not saying forgive and forget. I'm saying forgive and let go. There's a level of purity there. So in our next session, we are really going to get into our self-study. And I'm really excited about that. So I want you to stay tuned. There will definitely be more of these series, these videos in 2020. I'll be recording them every other week. And I'm really looking forward to our next one in regards to self-study. So please join me then. And I thank you for joining me right now. And it is Trinity Tuesday. Have a great one. Lead on.